Will the jetpacks ever come back to Farlight 84?
Farlight 84 dropped in a time in which Apex Legends Mobile was on its way out the door.
That's true.
So
everybody kind of agreed that the jetpack mechanic was kind of like the core identity of the game.
What's going to happen to the Sunset and Lambton?
We definitely understand the importance of doing something that's unique and fun.
Okay, what about console release? I know it's been touched on a very long time ago. Is that still in the plans in the future?
Funny enough, I get a lot of people that are coming in and they're looking at the game for the first time sometimes, and they're just saying, man, this game looks fun. This game looks amazing. And I'm over here in the back of my head, I was like, what's the next comment gonna look like? Somebody's gonna say, nope, it's not as good as it used to be. It used to be amazing with jetpacks.
And I think we all came to the same conclusion. I feel like maybe the developers rushed this update a little bit too fast.
After the update, it took me a lot of time adjusting to the new mechanic of the game, and to be honest, I like it more compared to the one when we have the jetpacks.
That's it. I just copy pasted it.
I don't know.
WYLDCAST, at the end of the vision, the complete picture of Farlight 84 when it stands against the mighty Apex Legends, Call of Duty, and other games like New State, what makes it different than everyone else? Yo, what is up, guys? It's me, ZakWylder, your host for the WYLDCAST. This WYLDCAST is gonna be once a month with different hosts sometimes, and surprise guests. We got Mr. Ryan with us. Say hi, Ryan, to the camera. Ken as well, we got here on the right side, and my friend Rusty as well will be joining us. Yeah, we do have a surprise guest. I'm not going to say who it is, but he will pop somewhere in the duration of this podcast. We do have some points to discuss about Farlight 84, the state of it, the current state of it right now, and what the future holds for this game that we grew to love and enjoy over the past year or two. But that's not the only topics that we're going to be touching on. We're also going to be discussing the state of mobile gaming in general and how things evolved and the new upcoming games that are actually making a splash in the scene. But yeah, without further ado, guys, let's start this awesome new podcast. Are you guys excited? What do you guys think?
Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. I'm hyped.
Let's go. Yeah, so the first topic we're going to be discussing is obviously the current state of Farlight 84, since all of us come, from there, and we've been grinding this game for a very long time, some more than others. But yeah, Ryan, Ken, and Rusty, I want your thoughts on the current situation of Farlight 84. What have you noticed of the past 2 to 3 weeks since the update, the controversial update that dropped? What do you think of it? I will start with Ryan right quick.
As far as the current state of the game, I mean, like Zak led in with, definitely the biggest update and the most controversial update so far. I think this has been a very polarizing time for the community. Many of us that have played the game from an early time period, whether it's before Global or, even after Global, have seen the update's effect on this community. We're definitely in a tough spot. Do I believe that it is a spot in which we can come back from? I mean, absolutely. I don't think you should ever 100% count out Farlight. There's been several updates in the past that they've done that has been very good for the game. But right now, I think the community is in a bit of an uproar. Jetpacks were removed. It feels like we are in search of really what that new movement identity is going to be, and it doesn't seem to be ready yet to show the players of this game. We had a recent video out that showed some concept art, gave us some ideas to it, but we haven't yet seen what is JetSlide, and is that going to be the answer that people are looking for to bring them back?
That is absolutely true. Yeah. What about you, Ken? If you'd like to chime in on the situation, I know you haven't been playing Farlight for a very long time, but since you started, what did you notice so far? I believe you did start with the jetpacks, of course, and that's one of the keys that drew you in.
Oh no, 100%. It's crazy because I'm the new kid on the block, right? Like I started 3 months ago in a sense. And funny enough, I started because I saw another friend of mine streaming it, and I was like, "Yo, what is this? This is in Fortnite, you know?" And I'm seeing this guy just like be with crack movement and jetpacks and everything. I was like, I gotta try this. And I come from like that Call of Duty background, and for me, I'm actually one of the few, because if you can think back on Call of Duty when Advanced Warfare came out and Black Ops 3, it wasn't very well received. The advanced movement, I think people weren't ready for it.
Right.
And all they kept screaming was like, "We want boots on the ground. We want boots on the ground." And I'm over here like, "No, man, I'm enjoying this game. I'm enjoying the exoskeleton. I'm enjoying the movement." And you know, we just haven't seen a game like this come through in a while. And I was in the second that I saw it on the screen. I was like, I gotta try this game. And funny enough, I was hooked from the beginning. I was hooked. I started playing this, streaming this pretty much Monday to Friday as soon as it became a thing.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you, did you find any difficulty with the controls when you first started, or was it like smooth sailing from the start?
Smooth sailing, which is kind of crazy because I want to like dive into that at some point. I feel like right now with this update, it doesn't feel optimized for controller settings. There's a lot of situations where I'm like trying to ping and my character kind of gets stuck and I can't look left to right, so I look like a bot.
Right.
When that happens.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening at all when jetpacks were a thing. I just felt like, you know, crack movement. I got my controller and I just felt like super confident in taking those fights. Nowadays, it's just like I call it out and I hope my team sees it, because I'm like, I don't want to ping. I don't want to get stuck.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true, man.
Turn my
That's
controller
very
left
true.
to right. So funny enough, you know, and then I guess diving into update 2.0, I've seen the jetpacks for a short time and I loved it. But at the same time, you know, seeing update 2.0, it's and I think I gave my thoughts to Ryan, I think, about this on Monday. It felt like they definitely wanted to become a more competitive game in a sense, and the community wasn't necessarily ready for this shift. I feel like there maybe wouldn't have been an uproar if they had majorly thought of what's going to replace jetpacks. And I don't know if that's maybe something that they weren't thinking about at the time, right? It could be something that like, oops, we created a problem now that we didn't know was going to happen, and we wanted the game to run in this state. And now JetSlide is coming in, or if they knew about it, I almost feel like they should have held off on the update until JetSlides came in
and so the solution was in place.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do 100% agree with you. Yeah.
Instead of like this lull that we're facing right now, which right now, I mean, it's like you're walking in mud, and I get that feeling. I understand it. You're literally like trying to get from one place to another. If you don't have a vehicle, you're in trouble. Yeah, and it's just gonna feel like a slow pace of the game. So I get the upward. I understand, you know, the current player base, or you know, the previous player base. I hate to say it because a lot of people have like, you know, dipped out. But I understand the upward from them. I'm also seeing, interestingly enough, since I continue to stream this, new player base coming in and saying like, man, this game looks fun. This game looks exciting. So just imagine if like there was that movement in place and everything, like how much better the experience would be. Yeah, player base, because right now they're coming into this and it's still gonna look different, you know, potentially 30 days from now. Right, they're gonna like the changes.
Exactly. I mean, that's what they're initially aiming for, is that new community, that new player base coming in that likes kind of the grounded boots on the ground, the type of gameplay. But yeah, I mean, that's the Farlight that we grew to love from the start, and that's what attracted us as, you know, players from the outside looking in. What about you, Rusty? How do you feel about the current situation and the jetpacks, and also the abilities? Maybe you can touch about the abilities. I mean, that's one of the strong key points that they had, is the change of the tactical abilities, making it 2 instead of 1, and after that, that's when they removed the jetpacks right after.
Yeah, well, for me, I've been playing like pretty much since global release. You know, like, and before this, I was basically a multiplayer guy on COD Mobile. Like, I was never really into BRs at all, and this game was the very game that got me into BRs in the first place. It allowed me to understand the BR genre better. And you know, seeing what's happened to the game recently, it's of course like makes us all sad. As for the abilities, like I think many people have touched on it before, that, you know, I feel they could have, everything they've done with the game pretty much has been good for the most part, except for the removal of jetpacks. I feel that they could have, like, you know, done the double abilities thing alongside the jetpacks. I feel they could have, I feel they could have, just not done that one major move of, taking away a mechanic that the whole community, gone forward, had gone used to it, invested time in, and just throwing us all for a loop, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
I really feel that if they had people have said it before. It just seems like they didn't really seem to think about what they were doing before they implemented the change to movement.
Right.
And it would have been nice if they'd. It's just I guess there were whispers of them doing it before, but for the wider community, especially with the lack of public communication from the
Right.
Farlight team that
Mhm.
people have spoken on. It would have been nice if they had at least communicated.
I wanted to ask you, did you find it hard for you as a new BR player to adapt to the jetpacks and the movements?
No, in fact, that was the whole reason, why it got me into the theme, because with most BRs, PUBG, COD Mobile BR, but once somebody sees you, you don't really have many options for getting out of the situation, or at least attacking or pushing somebody. The jetpacks were a game changer, and you've seen many explanations, or in quote marks explanations for why they did it, but
Right.
every explanation they come out with, many people have tried to come out with one. It's just kind of, the thought that runs through your head is just kind of yeah, but you could have just done this alongside that, or this instead of something. No explanation really seems to make sense. It just seems,
Right.
I don't know, people have touched on it that it might have been something from maybe Lilith, who made the devs do it, because it just doesn't seem thought out at all.
Right. From the outside looking in, that's definitely how it could be. Looking from people who are not involved in the developing stage of the game. But we do have someone who is a community manager, which is an awesome guest today. We got Lazy Kaz with us. Welcome in, Lazy Kaz.
Hey there. Hey guys.
Hello. Sorry guys, I had to drag Lazy Kaz in here. He's had a flight to catch, and he just landed, so he's a bit exhausted, but he's gonna join us for a little bit to chime in and give us some of his thoughts about the current situation of Farlight 84. Welcome in, Lazy.
Yeah, I think one thing that thanks for the introduction. I think one thing that I noticed very recently is that a lot of games are adding jetpacks. A couple of games are adding jetpacks to their roster. And I think one thing that I noticed was that even if there are signs that they are adding jetpacks, it's not like jetpack is being added as a universal skill or ability or movement tactic. Universal, it could be a term that Zach invented somehow, but yeah, I think in a sense, the hero class of flankers or assassins are prevalent in all games. Well, whether it be hero shooters or whether it be MOBA games or anything similar in that regard. But with the hero abilities at the forefront of the game, I think flankers and assassins have always been a class that stand by themselves and are really, specifically high mobility. And I think it also speaks to decades of game development process where there are flankers and assassins roles that that also complement with other hero types that do not have such high mobility. So I think I would say from my perspective, I would hold and see how those other games are applying jetpacks or similar mechanics to their own games. But I'd say that it would be based on our experience of developing Farlight 84 for years with the jetpack mechanic. I don't believe that there are going to be a universal skill or a universal movement ability.
Right.
So
Right.
that's just my take. But it's happening recently.
Yeah.
Sorry, COD Mobile is they've only added it as a class within their BI genre, and with new state, their jetpack abilities are going to be restricted to a certain mode. Like, so
Yeah, I
it's not
think
going
it's
to be
just one
part
map or
of
something, right? The new state.
it's going to be part of a particular mode, like a party mode they have in their game. It's not going to be part of the wider mechanics of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's gonna be limited to a certain mode or a certain class, like in Call of Duty Mobile. The thing is, LazyCast, would you say that the Farlight 84 franchise is heavily influenced by MMORPGs and games similar to like World of Warcraft? So you got like the passive abilities, the hero synergies, more like what's that game called? Mobile Legends. The passive abilities work very well with hero to hero, and if you enhance that during the game, because I see a lot of reference in Farlight 84 when I'm playing with a lot of MOBAs and MMORPG aspects in the game, like built in. So would you say it's like influenced by that in many of its ways?
Yeah, I think first of all, from my personal point of view, a lot of hero games, including hero shooters or MOBAs, they all have a similar roots. Of including Dota and League of Legends. I think those are the games that all of the hero titles look upward for draw inspirations from, I'd say.
Yeah.
So those are the universal inspiration.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. I think LazyCast, did you cut off? I think he's internet. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, but it's the first time actually, if I'm gonna build on that, it's the first time I believe that a mobile BR battle royale genre that's implemented
abilities and skills.
Oh, he's back. Okay, there he is.
Yeah, how hero skills could be applied to a battle royale context. And I think, of course, when it comes to hero shooter plus battle royale, Apex Legends is the beast in the room, and they are the most successful so far. They haven't been as successful in the mobile space, but they still draw a lot of attention in the PC space. But if you've noticed what they've done recently with the PC game, they are quite desperate of changing their game mechanics as well as the overall branding of the game to cater towards a wider audience as well. I think that that the reason for that is that the genre and Apex Legends in general, they are finding it very difficult to get new players into the game and have them play long enough so that the community grows over time. I think that's a difficulty of the hero shooter genre in general. When you look at Overwatch, it's another beast in the room, right? And even if with the talents at Blizzard, I mean there are lots of corporate shit going on at Blizzard, Activision, but with the talents at that company, it's also very difficult for them to work a better version for Overwatch 2. And I think it speaks to how difficult it is to create a game in this genre that is fantastically great in the long run. And I think it's over time everyone is just trying their best to find ways to adapt and change things so that the game is not stagnant.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes absolute sense. I was talking to Karen, Ryan, and Rusty about the state of the game currently, and I think we all came to the same conclusion. I feel like maybe the developers rushed this update a little bit too fast. I think that it's not, as we spoke lazy before, I don't think it's a complete update as you mentioned in your videos before. I think they should have held off a little bit longer, maybe in March or even April, and release a complete update with all the new abilities, maybe the JetSlide as well, so that they can compensate for the removal of the jetpacks, which was a very big core mechanic in the game, which left most of the players rooted in place, and the movement was so slow. It was a little bit more sloppy. It's true that the team chemistry enhanced a lot, and like we found ourselves, me, Ryan, and Ken and Rusty, playing as a team, pushing together, but it still didn't remove the fact that we found ourselves in most situations stuck, and we couldn't get out of that specific place or a situation, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to ask you, what was their goal initially to push this update sooner than anticipated? Was it because of community feedback? Did they feel like they were lacking in content? Maybe you could elaborate a little bit about the recent update.
I think lacking new content is not the thing that we kind of looked at when we decided to release the update as it was, because there was a new map and there was supposed to be a new hero. So we didn't think that the lack of content would be a reason why we pushed through that update.
Right.
The most important thing in that decision-making process was that we thought however difficult it is for us to work with the community on the update, I think it's always better to provide an update earlier than later, because if you have an update earlier, you will be able to collect feedback and be able to adjust your course throughout the upcoming updates. And that's exactly what we are trying to do in the previous video, where we talked about all the things that we are going to do, and some of the things we didn't mention, but we are also thinking about a variety of solutions to the problems that people mentioned through the update. So I think it's really important to push through an update earlier than later. I think it's kind of I'm sure if you are familiar with the world of AI tools like OpenAI, and there is also always a debate on whether the new AI tools should be provided as soon as possible or wait until it's safe. I mean, things like these are always a topic of debate.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think my core question would be, do you think Farlight 84 would have had a big of a backlash if the developers released the full version of their vision into the world instead of in chapters? I know that there's like another hero that was supposed to come out, more abilities, like all of the heroes were supposed to have a new tactical ability. Do you think if the developers released the full picture instead of parts, do you think we would have had the same backlash about the jetpack removal?
I am not sure, because the original plan wouldn't be exactly the same as how we're changing course right now.
Right.
So I think in the original plan there wasn't as much emphasis on the flankers or high mobility heroes in the overall plan. It's more like a general planning for different types of heroes, but not specifically a stress on those high mobility heroes. So how we are changing after the backlash was that we will put a lot more emphasis on the high mobility heroes, and then we'll have to figure out ways to balance the game, balance the heroes in a situation where there are kind of more high mobility tactics in the game than in other shooter games or battle royale games. So
Without the recent,
I would say
backlash. Sorry, without the recent backlash,
so I would say
JetSlide wouldn't have been a thing. Like the only reason JetSlide came, yeah.
Exactly. So it actually did help us change the course and adjust the strategy moving forward. And I think it's good in the long run. I mean, in the short run, the community has become a little bit toxic, but it's because they are they're really dedicated to the play style, and they're really dedicated to the jetpack mechanics, and that really reflects how much players like high mobility play style. So
no,
I mean,
no, 100%. I mean, about the toxic thing, I mean, I personally had to take a break from the game a little bit because the comments were getting too much. It drops from the mother source, like the main game, into the content creators of the game, unfortunately, even though we had nothing to do with it. But like my comments were flooded, so I was basically forced to take a break from the game because it was just getting a little bit too much. What about you, Ken, Ryan? What do you guys feel about that?
Oh, I see it. I've seen it in your streams. I've seen it in Ryan's streams. And it's funny because, again, since I'm like new kid on the block, I haven't had the same experience as you guys have. Most of the people that do come to my streams they're new to the game, or I'm introducing them to the game. And, I still get that negativity here and there, especially from those current players. But as I was saying earlier, funny enough, I get a lot of people that are coming in and they're looking at the game for the first time sometimes, and they're just saying, man, this game looks fun. This game looks amazing. And I'm over here in the back of my head, I was like, what's the next comment gonna look like? Somebody's gonna say, nope, it's not as good as it used to be. It used to be amazing with jetpacks or so and so. So I'm seeing it though when I go to your guys' stream and I live it, and I feel so bad because I completely understand. And kudos to you guys for staying composed and in this process, because I think you guys still see the vision, right? And hopefully in the future, it's just this little turmoil and this little lull that we're going through is gonna shift, and hopefully good things come to Farlight, because I'm still very passionate about the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like me and Ryan are like captains for NA, so we kind of saw the vision a little bit earlier than everyone else. We kind of believed in it and we understood it, even though we were also sad about the jetpacks removal. We still had a more mature thought about the future of Farlight 84 and what they were actually trying to do. So we kind of understood it a little bit earlier, but it's harder to convince the mass about what was and what is. But yeah, we just have to let it run its course and see how it is. What about you, Ryan? What's your thoughts on this?
No, I was going to add to that. For me, that's the tragic part of the situation, right? You got newer content creators such as Ken that are having fun out there making content, looking to grow their community. There are, you're still putting out videos, Zach. I just dropped a video recently, and when you think about the core issue and the feedback, all the feedback has just been laser focused on the jetpack being removed. If you take that out of the equation, the update as a whole added a lot of content that I think was actually very well received. People will have their certain things they're not happy with. That's fine. But the issue and the uproar around the jetpack is so large, it has overshadowed or is outgrown all of the other good things that were done. And it's unfortunate because it can be very discouraging for content creators when you go out there and you got a good piece of content that you drop, you're happy, you're optimistic about it. But because the passion around this issue, and not to discount anybody's feelings, people have the right to feel the way that they feel, and very valid concerns. But it's unfortunately, that's the tragic byproduct of it, is that the feelings around this issue are so large that it's just going to overshadow everything. So like you said, you get the comments you do in your content. I get the same things. Perhaps content that should have had a better opportunity to gain more viewership is not, because people are just tuned out at the moment, and they have the stance that they do. So yeah, it's a tough time to be a Farlight content creator. I'll fully admit. It's you feel like you're kind of going against the tide, which can be tough to hold your head up.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. Really good points you made there. Lazy Kaz, what do you have the kind of a maybe perhaps shed some light on the roadmap the next coming months or maybe weeks? If you can, tell us a little bit about what you think is going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, we are targeting to introduce JetSlide to the game in the next update, which is going to arrive in March, expectedly early March. It might be a bit later if the playtest, etc., isn't going well, or we think there are things that need to be adjusted further. But that's the timeline that we're looking at, and we are looking at pushing forward a few more heroes, or remaking heroes, existing heroes for high mobility roles that are similar to Maggie and somehow Duckside. So that is the general plan moving into the next few months or later this year. And I think we have to adjust quite abruptly because a high a hero balance with more high mobility heroes would be completely different from not just hero balance but also weapon balance would be quite different from a scenario where there are fewer flankers. So we have to adjust, and we have, I think, hero balancing and weapon balancing is something that we will be focusing a lot on in the coming months.
Right. Okay, that's nice. That's really reassuring to hear. So what about the mech bosses? I remember you guys talking about the mech bosses that could come in the future. And people were anticipating it to be in this update, but I think it was further pushed back a little bit more. Would that still be coming in the future plans?
Yeah, we are still trying to work on that, because I already will. Oh, sorry, because it's a bit too noisy on my side. We have to adjust our priorities, and we'll have to focus on the heroes and the mobility side of things instead of other gameplay aspects. So we will have to delay the other projects a little bit, but at the same time, we'll also try our best to explore mechanics that will make the game fun, either as a permanent thing in a game or as a temporary event.
Right, like a limited mode. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that's really great. Ken, Rusty, and Ryan, what do you think, in your opinion, Farlight 84 has to do to kind of, gain the community trust once again? Maybe strategies that could implement a little bit more into the jetpacks, or the movement mechanics like Lazy Kaz emphasized. What do you think they could be doing in the next few months to build community trust? I know a lot of new players are coming into Farlight 84, and they kind of like the current state, but we should never also forget the loyal community, the ones who put hours and hours, which is like 3 to 2 years pre-alpha, pre-beta. So what do you think, in your opinion, Farlight 84 could do to improve that or make that better?
Definitely show that they, are actually listening to the community, because it just feels to me, at least, and all the comments since the update have pretty much been community says one thing, Farlight does another. That's pretty much all I've been seeing. It's kind of with content creators as well, that kind of threw a lot of content creators off, including myself, the update, because I was going to release a video series of hero guides just before the update, and as soon as it released, it kind of made all the guides I made irrelevant. So when it comes to gaining community trust, just being more open, better communication about what they're going to do,
right,
when they're going to do it.
Transparency,
yeah.
More transparent. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What about you, Ryan? What do you think?
I think Rusty hit on it. I definitely want to add some things to it. I think right now we're definitely in a situation with the community in which they feel that there is a breach of trust and that they don't feel listened to. Um, like you had mentioned earlier, Zach, about the thinking about perhaps delaying the update. Um, I think right now jetpacks being removed, we have the current state of the game as is, but we haven't fully realized the vision for the developers going forward. Um, I believe that is the first step in order to perhaps remedy this problem. We need to see what that fully realized vision, what the new movement looks like, what these new mobility characters play, and at the end of the day, the gameplay has to be fun and enjoyable because that's why people come to any video game, especially Fallout 84. So once that is remedied, then there needs to be some relationship mending with the community, with the content creators to say, hey, this is our roadmap for the future. This is where we're going. And we want you to be a part of it and to start to rebuild that relationship. I think that is the first steps that need to be taken in order to get us back to some level, perhaps, of where we were before, where the future is very bright and everybody's very excited about it. I think a lot of people right now they just feel that they said and offered their thoughts about one thing, and no matter how much voting was done or how much opinion was on one side, the decision was completely taken another way.
Right, yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
From hindsight,
So-
from like I said, like the us from the outside looking in, that could be what it seems that's happening, and it could be a fact as well. But to be honest, if I'm gonna step in and say I know for a fact that the community managers, which is my direct connection, they're working extremely hard. I had the pleasure of working with Chance for a very long time, and then Lazy Kaz and the rest of the community. So I want to just give them their props because I know they're trying very hard, and they're a little bit detached from what the final say of the developer is going to be. But they always, give our feedbacks to them on a daily basis. They're always collecting. But at the end of the day, we all know that it's the developer's choice at the end of the day. And I really hope, and I kind of pray that they fix things and bring things back together, hopefully better than they used to be, even without the jetpacks. If they're still not keen on bringing it back, I kind of believe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, let's see what the next few months brings us in Farlight 84. But I want to go back to Ken, since you're a little bit of a newer, content creator in the scene. How do you feel with your community about Farlight 84 right now? Are you guys enjoying it? Are you guys playing, as a team, like the team chemistry, the abilities? I know you touched a little bit about the controllers. Maybe go a little bit in depth about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing is that I'm the eternal optimistic, and I think I keep saying that, in all my streams. Despite the fact that what attracted me in the first place was the jetpacks, right? Like, there's no denying that was the key core movement and factor that it got me excited about the game. I think, as Ryan mentioned, it got lost in translation when the update came, to fruition, because that's all everybody focused on. Oh, jetpacks are removed. Jetpacks are removed. But I actually enjoyed all the positive aspects of the game that did, turn out to be in update 2.0, just because the map itself that came out is amazing. I feel like that's really gonna, longevity wise, be an amazing map to play on. But the team aspect, right? Like the strategy behind the fights now, because now it's not just like crack movement. Now it's not just, taking on every single fight, and one before in an entire squad. So there's fun elements to the game that have been added. It's just now Farlight, you have to like change your mindset and adjust to the way that it plays now, and it's definitely more of a team environment. It's more of a team approach. There's definitely aspect that I wish would be better, like movement wise. I still I miss the jetpacks. There's no denying that. We still have Maggie, we still have Darkside that can help with the movement side of things, and I think in the longevity of the game it could potentially be more characters that come, like Black said, like Lacey said, that are gonna like improve movement in the game too as well. But there's no denying that my community is still enjoying the games, and it's a different. I hate this, that you guys are going through it, because it's a different, experience than like what Ryan's playing and what you're playing when you guys play Farlight 84. Because we're like the new kid on the scene, and it's just when you're a new player, you don't know any better, right? You didn't get to taste those jetpacks. You didn't get a taste of
Yeah.
what the gameplay like felt like back then. And right now for
100%.
you, it's just like this new beautiful anime like BR that has amazing characters, right? I feel like the character development could also be something good with the game at some point. Just,
Right.
like, some storylines for the characters
Yeah.
to get them more excited. Kind of like what Overwatch did back in the day with introducing characters and creating like little shorts in YouTube and whatnot about them.
That's what I love.
but,
Yeah. I want to see, definitely
Yeah,
want to see more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that being increased. But so I'm still having fun with the game, you know, and I feel so bad that like I see all these like content creators that have been playing this game for so long, leaving where I'm taking a break from them. No, not necessarily leaving the game, but
Yeah.
just taking a break, you know, through the turmoil, and it's just because they don't want to deal with that negativity that has unfortunately, taken place with this update. So I still have fun. I love seeing like new players come in and they're like, hey, can I join you? And I do VR games all the time. Can I play with you? And it gets me excited. Of course, not every time it's possible to carry a team, especially because, like I said, it's a very team set, team-based.
Yeah, now it's very
those
team
comps.
heavy.
Yeah,
Now it's
very
hard. Like
true.
unless I'm running with Brian, Zach, the squad, it's a little bit different, right? When you're trying to carry a team and you're here like, oh, I just got a 3-piece, but then the last guy just killed my whole squad.
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah, LazyCast, like when we play now, like we have to use Discord, like we have to use comms all the time. It's like almost impossible to win your fights if you're not playing as a team, having comms. But there's one more thing I wanted to touch on, which the community brought up, and of course we noticed it as well. Was it the merging of the servers? Because the pings were really high. I don't know if they merged the servers or they reduced the servers to certain countries, but I think we all noticed like the ping issue, right? I'm not sure if it was on purpose or was it an update that they released. Maybe LazyCast can shine some light on that, the server situation.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for your insights. I think going back to the topic before, I think roadmap is definitely something that we will try to put together as soon as possible because our plans are changing. So we will try our best to put together a roadmap and be able to share it with you guys as well as the community. And back to the point about ping, I think we've seen Indian servers.
Oh, I think we lost Lazy for a bit. Yeah, I think Lazy, you
might be
disconnected. Yeah.
Sorry,
Here he
am I
is.
back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Good. It's definitely not on purpose, but it's something to do with the matchmaking algorithm change. So I think as you can feel after the update, a hotfix patch after the 2.0 update, the matchmaking changed quite a bit, and you will feel that the matches and the games that you play are a lot more competitive than before. I think that might have something to do with certain regions having a higher ping because maybe it's because there's not enough players in the region, and based on certain matchmaking time requirement, they may be making a match with a different server. So I think that's the reason why it happened for certain regions, and I think it's quite specifically in India. I think it's the most serious in India.
Yeah.
I've noticed on Shady's channel, his ping has really been affecting him in his gameplay.
Shady, yeah, definitely Shady. Yeah. The Indian community. Okay, cool. So you guys will definitely tackle that in the next update. Hopefully things will go back to normal ping wise. What else did I want to touch on? Yeah, of course, the noticeable change in most of the games and the new updates that are coming out, like New State, Call of Duty, they're all adding these jetpacks, and I don't know if it's actually accidental. I mean, of course, these things take time to develop, but they saw the success of Farlight 84, and I think they wanted to chime in just a little bit, dip their toes in the sauce, like they say, you know what I'm saying? What do you think
The
of
timing timing is
Yeah.
impeccable.
Yeah.
I mean, the timing, a little sussy.
Yeah, the timing is definitely sussy.
Yeah, man,
Definitely.
it's
Yeah. A lot more games are coming out with the jetpack-like movement, jetpack maneuvers, and I would have to say, yeah, most of them. I know a lot of people are gonna give me backlash and be like, "Oh yeah, but jetpacks were in other games." Yeah, I understand that completely, but it was never a universal movement, and until now, even the games that are coming out, it's not universal. It's gonna be in specific limited game modes. But it would be interesting to see how they would actually implement it in the first place. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be anything like Farlight 84, or it's going to have like a twist to it, especially like new state that is coming out next week, and CODM, the class?
I can speak to CODM, definitely. I can speak to
how does it
CODM.
feel? How does CODM feel? The jetpack in that?
So their jetpack, the description is kind of sus, because it literally says a jetpack which gives you jet boost, jet slide, and wall running. Like, but the execution of it isn't quite, it doesn't quite remind you of Farlight. The boost is like, hardly to be spoken of. The jet slide, I wonder if they've kind of beaten Farlight to the punch in that, because like COD Mobile already had the slide implemented, so all they had to do to make it a jet slide was, add a jetpack and make it further and faster than the original slide. And that's the wall running. The wall running is horizontal. You can't wall run upwards and stuff. As for the gameplay experience, so because I've recently just been playing, I'm still in the lower ranks. When I engage in battle using the JetSlide, people, being in the lower ranks, I think it would mostly be like lower skilled players or new players. They find it very difficult to handle, and I wonder if that will end up being a hindrance to the JetSlide in future, should the devs decide to nerf it. Because of that very reason, the fact that newer or lower skill players can't handle it. But if you're experienced in games where they have a slide mechanic and you're good at using it,
Interesting.
It's definitely as far as new state, the whole jetpack thing. As far as because they've only released a trailer right now. They seem to have a more viable jet boost, at least from the short trailer they've added. I wonder if they're kind of, you say the time's convenient, because you mentioned in your previous video, like, that they seem to be adding like a whole bunch of hero abilities, like one with not just the jetpack, but the captain shield, things like that. So we just want to wait and see what.
They're definitely chiming in, and they know that the market, they are attracted to these kind of things: abilities, movement, jetpacks, flying around, jumping, double jump. Like, all these things are very attractive, and it beats the niche which is boots on the ground. Like Ken said, that is to be honest, I think that's the minority in my opinion. I think the upper echelon of the new generation is all about movement, gun mechanics, jumping around, sliding, as much movement as possible. And I know it takes away from the gunplay, but unfortunately, that is the new generation of the new players that are coming in. That's what they like. I mean, it's more attractive to watch that kind of gameplay than steady tactical gameplay going forward. In my opinion, I think that's the new generation. Wouldn't you agree with me, Ryan and Ken?
Yeah, I was gonna add a couple of things to that, and I think Rusty touched on something, that is gonna kind of web into other things here. Just before I start, as far as what I had seen from COD Mobile, I saw like a clip on Twitter, and the jetpack system in that game is more akin to like Titanfall. I don't know how many of you have actually played Titanfall, which is kind of the originator of Apex Legends. Apex Legends comes from the Titanfall universe, but that's what the jetpack system in that game looks like.
Yep.
Nothing to what we were used to from Farlight. I think Zach touched on an excellent point here. I think that if you were to take the temperature in the first-person shooter community, or even hero shooter community, a lot of them want movements, and in a lot of situations they will pick movements over gunplay. Lazy was speaking earlier to the changes that are happening in Apex Legends. Apex Legends' recent update was probably one of the biggest overhauls in gameplay that they have gotten in a very long time. Apex Legends has now added a perk system. It never had perks in the game. You can't even go around and loot shields anymore. You cause damage, you level up your character, you level up your shield, you pick your perk. That is a core gameplay change that it is across all game modes. What else? What we saw happen with recently with Warzone Mobile. Warzone Mobile has now implemented slide canceling. That was something that the community was bringing up repeatedly, saying that, hey, Warzone 3, its latest iteration, brought back all of the movement that was missing from Warzone 2 that the community had issues with when it upgraded from Warzone 1. And we want to see that brought over to Warzone Mobile. So now they brought the slide canceling and the tactical sprint and bringing that movement and that speed into the gameplay. So I think Zach touched on an excellent point here that we're seeing across no matter what the game is, and whether it's Battle Royale, multiplayer, that a lot of players are really pushing their respective favorite games to try to find a way to implement that movement to outplay their opponents. And it also does look good on content, like Zach mentioned. The flashier stuff tends to get the most views.
Yeah, no, 100%. And of course, we're going to always zoom into Icy and Kaib taking it to another level, with his movement and like aim and just doing 360 headshots. I mean, that's very appealing as a content creator or like a viewer. Sorry, you'd love to watch that. And you can watch that for hours. To be honest, I use Kaib's content before jumping into a game. I'd watch Kaib and I'm like, oh damn, I'm getting hyped now. I wanna be like that. But of course, it's further than the truth. I'd land and I'd get shot and I'd get knocked down, the usual stuff. And then Ryan and Ken would have to revive me, and then Rusty would come and save the day. But yeah, nevertheless, Ken, what about you? What do you agree with my points about the movements? It's more attractive for the viewer. And such.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think everything that Rusty and Ryan said just hits home right now. And I'll go back to that Advanced Warfare point. I said at the time, it just felt like they were just ahead of the game, and people weren't ready for that.
That's true.
When the exosuit came out, everybody was like, "What the hell is this? This is not COD." And it was such a shock to the culture, right? It was such a shock to the game and the gameplay, because all they wanted to do was shoot straight, but you couldn't shoot straight because you were in exosuits and you were dashing forward, up and down and everywhere, left and right, and avoiding fights, right? And that intricate movement, people weren't used to it, and that's why that game reverted back to boots on the ground and the culture. But if you look at all the games that are performing really well nowadays, this is what they care for. Like, it's great if you win the fight, but the gameplay itself, when it feels like crack movement, when it feels like you just have a better chance of surviving a fight, or just surviving, like I said, a 1v4. Like, who does that nowadays in any other games? That's what people are looking for, and that kind of content just like thrives right now nowadays. Montage status, I feel like you don't even have to create a montage. You just put a clip of a jetpack fight and you're good to go. So I'm all about like what it looks like nowadays. People really care more about the gameplay itself than the actual gunfights.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, quick question to Ken. Have you played any of the recent like Modern Warfares?
Yeah,
like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
And I took a break from it so I could play Farlight.
But you made an excellent point before about COD and really what those expectations are, and it translates to the broader viewership as a whole. So it's like Warzone 1 and COD 2019, slide cancel was not a thing until those games came out, right? Now, could you imagine that game thriving without it?
No.
Exactly. If you were to take that away, it would be a big problem. So it's once again, I don't want to stick to it too much, but it's just speaking to the broader mentality of viewers and also players as well, that they tend to gravitate more towards that kind of stuff these days. And I think that we're seeing a similar kind of dilemma here in Farlight, where now the player base is looking for what that type of mechanic could look like, and see if JetSlide is perhaps that answer. We haven't seen it in action yet.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna.
I was gonna say,
No, go ahead, Rusty.
Sorry, carry on, Ryan.
Yeah, go.
Okay, thanks. I was going to say, like, it's been stated by Kaz and other developers before that the idea of the update was to accentuate the gunplay. To be close to the identity
Hello,
of a
guys.
hero shooter. Shooter being the main words. But my experience, especially with my friends who are also newer to the game, is that it's kind of done the opposite. Rather than being a more gunplay game, it's actually made the abilities more prominent. The gunplay is less of an aspect, except if they're like of course if you get caught out in the open, that's when the gunplay gets becomes more of a aspect of the game because. Yeah,
100%.
sorry. I'm trying to get my thought out. The
No
gunplay doesn't seem to be as prominent as it was before. Yeah, there was a lot of movement, but the gunplay was a definite factor. But now the abilities seem to be the most prime factor in gameplay.
Yeah.
The only time the gunplay is most noticeable is like when people are camping or like in long distance gunfights.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Now,
all other-
especially now, like
Yeah.
with the team play and the synergy between you and your team, gunplay comes in effect in a major way. I have a clip from CALI. He was supposed to join us, so he's the one experienced with the esports scene in Farlight 84. He's one of the best, if not, in my opinion, one of the best casters in the Philippines. He sent me a clip of his thoughts today. He couldn't make it because he has work, but he sent me a clip, and I'm sharing my stream right now if you guys want to watch. Together, and we can maybe chime in on what he has to say about the current esports scene without the jetpacks. Let me see. There we go. Let me know. Can you guys see it, or is it not there? Let me know.
Yeah, I can see it on mine.
Okay. 1 second. There we go.
Hello guys, this is me, CALI. I am a caster for Farlight 84 Philippines Championship Season 1 and Season 2. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join you guys for the podcast, but still big thanks for Zach for inviting me and for having me here. And a big shout out to everyone who is here at our segment listening and to our amazing hosts. Now, yeah, I'll be talking about my experience at the Post-Jetpack removal for Farlight 84. I mean, where do we even want to start, right? Everyone who downloaded Farlight was drawn into the jetpacks. I was one of them. It was a unique movement mechanic only present to the game. You can fly up the buildings, dash your way in, drop the ultimates and tactical skills, and the gunfights already done. It was a fast-paced battle royale at its finest, right? It's one of the most unique game that we had starting last year. And watching this game with the jetpack unfold from All Cup, Solar Cup, Asia, and up until Farlight 84 Championship Season 2, you can spot a lot of these patterns after watching so much of these games. And what happens in the durations of a match is pretty linear, honestly. The teams who steamrolled or dominated the early game and the mid game is favored heavily to win the entire thing, as they have the better weapon, shields, player experience, and have lesser cooldowns on their jetpacks after looting everyone that they managed to take down. Having an underdog team win at the end, it was close to impossible. Now, after the update, it took me a lot of time adjusting to the new mechanic of the game, and to be honest, I like it more compared to the one when we have the jetpacks. The pacing of the game got a lot slower. Teams have to take their time climbing and pushing onto buildings when there are team fights. Making the durations of this battle slower allows us casters to have more time doing analysis instead of just doing play-by-plays every time, because that's what it is on Chapter 1. As soon as teams are finished looting on the first circle, everything is just hype and hype and hype. You really have to go for those attacks. And we barely got to hold our breath unless it was a 4v1, which only happens every so often. The final circles that I have casted in top team scrimmages, that includes streams like Stream Raiders Akage, Execration, Blackfire, KMX, have been interesting and left me quite speechless because of how unpredictable it can be. Like teams like Stream Raiders Akage somehow drops 12 and 7 spots, which is uncharacteristics for them, but this is what the new game and the new mechanics can bring to the table, right? Yes, you can still see teams score 20 plus kills, but it doesn't already guarantee a victory that often anymore. there is more potential for a passive team to clutch it because they can be rewarded in the early and mid game by playing through sponsor boxes to get upgrades on their player experience points, their shield XPs, and even secure a great weapon like an AK-77 that is a blue tier in one of those boxes if you are very, very lucky. You can also play for the airdrop rain, which has 3 supply boxes coming in from Noya, and always guaranteed a level 4 or a level 3 weapon. And then these 2 styles can help you prepare for those late games, apart from killing and taking another team's loot. This feature rewards teams for rotating there, and I'm looking forward to how it will develop as time goes by, because there will always be new strategies. Like if you try to play for a sponsor box, teams might just develop that sponsor box hunter ability, right? They will just hunt for those sponsor boxes and they will be hunting you to go for those eliminations. But enough of that, right? We're gonna be touching that one up maybe on a video I will be posting. Shameless plug. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Yeah, now talking on the player side, the skill gap between the best teams and the mediocre ones have dwindled significantly. Now, I think this can be echoed the same with the rank warriors and the casual players. Now, having that jetpack out just helps it that you get to prioritize at least a level up gameplay in terms of trying to win the game, right? But yeah, the movements have been cut down to bunny hops, strafing, and spam crouches. Unless you're a dockside or a Maggie, you're of course you're going to have that mobility, but yeah, you're still going to have these amazing movements to be utilized as well after going in for those jetpacks or those wrecking duck pulse attempts. But each player has to rely on their aiming skills now heavily, and they also have to take into consideration where do they want to contest the fights, because without the jetpacks you cannot just dash in and out. You need to hold at least a rock that protects you up front, but even that isn't a guarantee on the post-jetpack update anymore. If you're playing on a phone or a headset, it is so much easier to distinguish where the fights are happening. So there's always this high chance that the third team will join a team fight, and it just repeats time and time again. This brings in the topic of forcing the teams and each player to act with more responsibility, because one slight mistake could lead to a fatal error, which could bring you to the lobby. And I love it, I'm all for it. Although I still want the fast moving mechanic to be brought out, which they will do on the next patch. I want to see where this game will do overall. This 2024, again, they're trying to bring us this JetSlide, which I believe will bring in more movement potential for the game. And I just hope that it brings out the best in Farlight 84. It makes it fast-paced again. But after casting the new update, I believe we are heading in the right direction, esports-wise, and for sure for the overall game's longevity. Whatever happens in esports can be echoed to what happens in rank games, and for us casuals as well. So yeah, I hope that this was very insightful for you guys, and hopefully I get to join Zach on the next podcast that he will be hosting. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Peace out.
Welcome, CALI. Thank you so much, broski. Appreciate it. One of the best casters in the game, and he's very experienced. He casted the Call of Duty finals with Bobby Plays and Noah. He's a very well-known caster. I would love to get LazyCast's opinion on what CALI just said. I don't know if you heard it from your side, LazyCast, but what do you think of the esports scene? Apparently, it did a really good impact on the esports scene, and it yielded a positive effect overall.
Yeah, I think his speech kind of reflects our thinking in general, where we wanted to make the game more tactical. We wanted players to have more strategic depth in each game and each match that they play. And I think I also want to go back a little bit to the point where new age players, they do want gameplay that are fast, and the adrenaline just rush up, and you can feel it when you use the jetpack, right? But on the other hand, because of that universal mechanic, the strategy, the strategy part kind of couldn't be as pronounced. I'd say because obviously for game balancing issues, for especially as the jetpack is the core mechanic of the game, and you guys also mentioned about being a shooting game and also combining hero abilities. The jetpack kind of just as a universal ability, it kind of just takes all of those core elements of gameplay design away as an experience. But at the same time, it also gives you that adrenaline rush. And I think what's happening in esports, especially from a cast perspective, casting a game in esports is it really speaks a lot about the longevity of a game design. If you have a game that can enable esports events and esports casting that are interesting to watch for a long time, and also are easy to cast for the caster, I think it really speaks to how as a content, esports as a content provides opportunities for for not just adrenaline rushing TikTok videos or music montages, but also content that enables a viewer to watch for hours, and or they can also drive a sense of love for a certain player or a certain team.
Right. Yeah, of course. 100% agree with you on that. I think it's very important to find the balance between the two. I think there will be a balance eventually in Farlight 84 between movement, gun mechanics, strategy, so it will be a complete picture sort of thing. But yeah, no, 100%, such a really nice insight.
Definitely.
From CALI. LazyCast, is there anything you can drop in this podcast that is probably coming in the next update? Maybe give us a little hint, a little glimmer of hope, like the community would say. But yeah, if you could, shed some light on maybe future content that we could be excited for.
Yeah. Maybe not a very specific content for the future, but I think from my communications with the dev team, various levels of the dev team, I think we're very open to changes as long as it's not a universal jetpack ability. What that means is that as long as we kind of remove it as a universal ability, but then add back high mobility elements in different forms of design, and high mobility being just part of the mechanic of the game, we're very open to different ideas and implementing more different mechanics in the game as well. So I hope that could help shed a light on how we're going to bring back mobility to the game, but at the same time, we also feel that having a jetpack not as a universal ability will, bring a brighter future for Farlight 84.
Right, correct. Okay, that's awesome to hear. That's awesome. Anything else I wanted to touch on? I think the current state of the mobile gaming, I'm not sure where it is right now. I think we have just a few games that we can, count in our hands. There isn't a lot of options right now, and I think that's where Farlight 84 can come in and capitalize on that, because I think the next game release is scheduled in May or May, June, I think, for Warzone Mobile. I'm not sure. I think that's like the upcoming game that's coming out. So I think Farlight has a little bit more time to rebuild and stamp its brand on the community and just be another powerhouse within the BR genre in the mobile and the PC community. And of course, a long time ago, we've heard about it coming to consoles. I don't know if that's still in the plans, but let's hope that it does. What do you guys think about the current state of mobile gaming right now? Ryan, Ken, and Rusty.
I think you hit it on. I think you hit it on the head there, Zach. There's definitely an opportunity with the current landscape. Given how much time Farlight 84 needs to kind of realize its full vision, to come back and perhaps capture more of the market. Farlight 84 dropped in a time in which Apex Legends Mobile was on its way out the door.
That's true.
So when you think about in terms of timing, the timing was almost seamless. You had a community from a game that just closed, from a AAA developer that was looking for a new home, and a lot of them seamlessly migrated over to Farlight 84. Right now, this year, we could see various other AAA titles come out, like you mentioned, Warzone Mobile, Valorant Mobile, and there's other games that are cooking as well, but they have not released yet, which means there's still an open opportunity here. And while our community is dealing with a very rough patch, I think if Farlight can turn around and bring those features that show us what they have in terms of a vision for the game going forward, and if the community accepts them and is very happy with these changes, that perhaps they can bring a lot of those players back before those other mobile games come out that are going to be serious competitors to Farlight going forward.
Oh, 100%. What about you, Ken? What do you feel like?
All right, and this is coming from the PC guy over here. But checking into like the mobile scene and seeing how big Farlight was, like when I'm actually going into the game, I was like, oh, so this game is actually bigger in the mobile scene than it is on the PC side of things. It's just such a big market right now. The technology just keeps advancing, and right now, phones out there and tablets and everything to play all these games that could be console games. And in this case, this is also, like I said, a PC port. I play it on the PC. Farlight has a lot of potential here, and I keep saying that the potential is immense. Technically, they captivated everybody, with that initial core movement, but now I see the vision. That's the thing I keep saying. I see the vision. I understand, where the game is heading. I just hope these changes that are coming through and they get implemented in the right way, and then people can feel and understand that jetpacks are still going to be a thing. There's still Maggie, there's still Duckside, there's still other characters that may come in the future that will have that kind of ability. But right now the competition isn't necessarily that big for Farlight, right? Because as Ryan said, like some of these games haven't come out just yet, so this is the time to strike in a sense.
Yep.
And for them to take advantage of the situation.
100%. I agree with you on that one. Rusty, what about you? What do you feel like? What's your thoughts on this?
Definitely an opportunity. The question that keeps going in my mind, for a while now is like, so everybody kind of agreed that the jetpack mechanic was kind of like the core identity of the game, hence the big controversy we're going through now. And with things on the horizon, possibly like high energy heroes, Apex possibly bringing out another mobile version in the future. With Farlight taking away its core identity mechanic, should those games decide to come out in a time when Farlight is more similar to games like Apex, etc., when those games come out, why would people play Farlight when they can play those games? That's just the question that keeps going through my mind. So, like, not to be negative, but as a person who cares about the game, as a person who's like invested in the game, as a person who's convinced friends to play this game because they found things like Apex to be too competitive or whatever, that some of my friends, like, that was the sell to them, that it's kind of like Apex, but it's got jetpacks, so yeah. That's kind of like the question mainly. Like, when with these other games and Farlight becoming more similar to these other games, why would people play Farlight? When they can play these other games when they come out.
That's a very, very valid question, and I actually like that question a lot. And no one else could be better to answer this than LazyCast. LazyCast, at the end of the vision, the complete picture of Farlight 84, when it stands against the mighty Apex Legends, Call of Duty, and other games like New State, what makes it different than everyone else? Maybe LazyCast can chime in a little bit, because maybe he has a better picture of Farlight 84 at the final product of Farlight 84. 84? Does it stand the chance against those, mega hitters? What makes it different than them, and why would people pick Farlight 84 instead of like let's say High Energy Heroes, New State, or Call of Duty?
Well, first of all, I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't predict what happens in the future. And even for our plans, we change all the time. We adapt and we change. So I don't want to dive too deep into our future plans for how to make Farlight 84 unique. But you guys have a point where the game has to be unique in a certain aspect, especially if a certain mechanic is really fun and innovative. Or even if it's not to the point where it's innovative, it's really fun and it's different from the other games. We definitely understand the importance of this, and we are what we are doing right now. I think I mentioned in the creators chats a few weeks ago. We're going through a surgery, right? After the surgery, we'll have a body with a better health condition, so that we can rework that body.
I like that.
And we can go to the gym again. We can play tennis again, things like that. That's what we're doing right now. So I'd say we're trying to shoot for more of that post healthy body creative stuffs for later this year, but because we have to change course and develop more of these heroes in the first place, so that may come a little later, but we will definitely share more about our plans when the time comes. We definitely understand the importance of doing something that's unique and fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, well, that makes everyone feel a little bit more comfortable heading into the future of Farlight 84. That's 100% confirmed right there. I think one more thing I wanted to touch on is after hopefully everything is fixed up, everything is everyone is back to being happy about Farlight 84 and the game is completely enjoyable. Do you feel like some of the I know you guys touched a little bit about older heroes being redesigned and reintroduced, but then we got a little bit surprised with Freddy when you guys introduced him a little bit. He does have similarities to an older character called Ark, but are these guys older heroes coming in, or are they completely new heroes?
We treat them as completely new heroes, and we also learn from a variety of different other heroes that we designs that we played with in the past. But at the same time, we have to, I think especially in the past with the Jetpack, a lot of the heroes didn't work. So we had to, scrap a lot of the heroes. So some of the heroes we did learn from previous designs, but at the same time, we also look at, other designs that we feel interested, and we feel like, oh, this skill design can combine with that skill design, and it will be really fun to play. And then we start play testing it, and then we try adjusting it. So we do that as well.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Cool. What about player housing? Farlight 84 used to have player housing before, like MMORPGs, which I think, in my opinion, made the game a little bit more unique than any other BRs, because no BR had that. I think Call of Duty had a hub where people could socialize for a little bit, but it was a time limited. And maybe in the future, I don't know, you could introduce something like that in Farlight 84. I know it's not in the grand plans right now because things are not, complete, but maybe like further into the future you guys could look into that. What do you think, Lazy?
Yeah, and so that is one thing, and social features are tricky, especially when you mentioned MMORPGs. Those kind of social features are usually tend to go down a route where it could become toxic, or it could become unfriendly for some players. So we tend to, I think, especially when you see the new style that we're going after, right, which we want something that's lighter, that's brighter, that feels more, friendly, and just like a neighborhood style. I think we do want to make sure that the social features are not, too over baked into the game in a sense, if that makes sense for you. And certainly that's not our priority right now.
Right. Interesting. Okay, I see. That's awesome. That's really cool. Ryan, Ken, Rusty, do you guys have anything else you would like to ask or you want to chime in on? Please, this is your chance to do so.
I would say for me, as somebody who's played Farlight a month and a half before the game came to beta, and once again, I want to thank Zach for giving me all the opportunities that I have with this game. In my content creator career, this is a game for me that has taken it to a whole nother level. Whether it was being a part of the Farlight content creator program and then becoming a captain, having the opportunity to cast, several official Farlight 84 tournaments. One thing that Farlight was always praised for in the beginning, and I know that Zach will attest to this, is the open communication and the willingness to listen to the community and to address issues and grievances. That's something that, even in some of the past rough patches as a community, Farlight's come out in front of it, responded, and usually the community at that point has felt heard. Where we are currently, I feel that the community feels like they're at a point in which they felt heard but ignored, went in a separate direction. That being said, ultimately, I'm a very optimistic person as well. I think that me and Ken are very much like on that same page, and we like to stream and game a lot. We're very much alike in that type of personality. I do want to see Farlight succeed. I've been playing this game and making content for it nonstop since I originally played, and I think the potential is immense. The potential is immense. I'm going to continue to be optimistic and hope that that vision in which we were being guided to by the developers hopefully is the answer to what the player base wants and can bring them back and really give this game another chance to shine. But ultimately, regardless of what we all think here, it comes down to the players. The players ultimately make the decision whether they want to play the game, whether they want to view the content. And regardless of how we feel, they're the ones that dictate ultimately the longevity of the game. And I really do hope that, they give it a chance, when the developers do roll out that vision.
Yeah, what about you, Ken?
Yeah, no, and first off, I want to thank the ECCAT for kind of like giving us a little bit more insight into some of like the changes that are coming and some of the vision behind it, because actually it aligns with my thoughts in the whole process. It's cool to hear CALI too, and see his point of view and see how how this has actually improved the esports side of things. So we got to remember it's a product too at the end of the day, and if not all facets of it work, then it might not be a very valuable product. So it's just one of those things that like there has to be that balance, and right now we're in the process of finding that balance, and we see it here in the Farlight state right now, that we're kind of like in a little bit of a turmoil. But I think just with the vision of what's coming, I just hope again like that the changes are going to be implemented in the right way and that the players do give it a chance. Like Brian said, it doesn't matter if we have all this like great vision, especially from the previous player base. If they decide that it's just all the changes that are coming are not enough, they're still not going to play, right? So but with that being said, I've been enjoying Farlight 84. I've been enjoying just getting to know you guys too. The community itself has been super welcoming to me, and I'm just excited for and optimistic for what's ahead. Hopefully, like I said, people do give it a shot, just because I'm seeing the other side of the spectrum, right? Being new and everybody like coming into my chat and checking out the game for the first time and whatnot, and say like, man, this game looks a lot of fun. When I know that's not what you guys are receiving. And so, just understanding that with all this like this cycle that's happening right now with the game, and understanding that it's not the finished product and continuing to say it to everybody is going to be really key from us on the content side of things as well, right? So yeah, just looking forward to everything.
That's awesome. What about you, Rusty?
Well, like to finish off on a positive note, there's certain specs I'd like to, thank the dev team for and the Farlight team as a whole. Just things like, giving the community a chance to have things like free diamonds, free gold tickets, things like being able to, things like the Mythic Maggie character. Thank you for making the Mythic character grindable by playing. Instead of
Yes.
instead of making things like COD Mobile does, where you buy the Mythic character for 100 and then you have to upgrade it for 100.
Yeah.
Thank you for not sponging us like
That's
that.
true.
Thank
That's
you
true.
for making the Battle Pass very good value for money in comparison to other games. Thanks for that, guys. That really means a lot. Because you have to remember, as a mobile game and consequently catering to the mobile community, you are very much in the large part dealing with people who can't, for the most part, buy PCs or buy consoles and other things. That would also enable them to spend more money because of their circumstance. So thanks for that, guys. I just hope you continue to cater to those who can't quite put as much money into the game as they can, but are willing to put the time, the devotion, and effort into it to grind the game, be a part of the community, etc., etc. So from that point of view, thanks, Farlight.
That's absolutely
it's always
amazing.
been one.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Thank you so much.
As soon as I saw the Mythic, I messaged LazyCast. I'm like, I think this is one of the first games that has ever done that, where you upgrade your Mythic character all the way fully just by completing missions. I think every other game made you have to pay for that. Every upgrade is another package that you'd have to open and then you'd collect. And it's just a gotcha game at the end of the day. But Farlight took another approach, which is absolutely amazing. And I think we definitely need to give them their props for that, 100%. Okay, just to close this off, I have 5 strong community questions, and then we're going to end this podcast on a positive note, hopefully. LazyCast, these questions are for you. They're only 5, and they're going to be rapid questions, okay? Are you ready, LazyCast?
All right.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Will the Jetpacks ever come back to Farlight 84?
Not as a universal ability.
Okay, what about other maps and map rotations? What's gonna happen to the Sunset and Lambton?
We might be taking some of them back and rework it before putting it out again.
Right, okay. Would you implement map rotation once that's done?
Not sure, because it really depends. Right now, the maps are just too different for map rotation. But we know about the demand for map rotation, and we will look into that. But right now, the maps are just too different
Right.
for a map rotation.
Correct. Okay. Too many game modes, and would you add solo mode in the future?
Not in the plans right now.
Okay. What about console release? I know it's been touched on a very long time ago. Is that still in the plans in the future?
We were actually working on a Switch version, and we actually submitted the app to Nintendo last year. But then, because of all the development that's going on, we have to put it to a halt because Nintendo came back with a lot of different things that they want to be adjusted. So we have to put it on a halt and focus on the other development pipelines first.
Okay, awesome. Last question. What's going to happen to my Momoy? That's it. I just copy pasted.
I don't know.
I just copy pasted. There's a big fan of Momoy, and he wants to know what's happening to his character.
But question, and I was a I was a Momo main too. He might be speaking to the passive, because when I was a Momo main, that was the biggest thing I felt that she brought to the team, and my favorite part was her passive.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we are going to continue to rework some of the hero abilities. And I think touching on the topic of passives, some of the passives were actually made into the active skills, and some of them were removed because we didn't feel like they would work for in the future plans. But yeah, we will continue to rework the heroes, and I'm sorry about the point where a hero guide was made and then the hero was changed again, reworked again, and it instantly became obsolete. I'm sorry about that, but I think I think sometimes it's better to make changes than just leave them in the dust.
Yeah, no, 100%. Momo is actually one of the fan favorites and the community favorites. One of the she's not like heavily used, but it's definitely one of the best team supports since the beginning of time. And I would love, for her to get a revamped and make her shine again. Like she deserves. Thank you so much, guys. I absolutely loved it. This podcast, one of the best ones, and many to come. Of course, is going to be episode 1 of the WYLDCAST. I really want to thank LazyCast for actually joining us. What a surprise! Ryan, one of the best captains out there. We got
having me.
Yeah, of course, Rusky, of course, anytime. And Rusty, one of my good friends, Super Ken. Actually, it's a short time since I've known this guy, but such a gem in the community, and I absolutely love him. Any last note you guys want to add, or we are good to close this up? What do you guys think?
I think pleasure to be here, and I'm always a big proponent of having tough, honest conversations, because that's where meaningful change comes from. And we need to continue to discuss these things. I think everybody here comes from a good place. They want to see the game succeed, and we just have to continue to talk about it.
Absolutely,
and hopefully get to that good place again.
100%. Any closing notes, Ken?
Yeah, no. First off, thank you for having me. This was a blast, and hitting the hard points here, like Momoy. Momoy needs some love. But no, and I'm all for it. Like, this conversation sometimes need to happen in an open space like this, and in an open format where we can just kind of all bring in our thoughts and the process, but also understand the developer side of things. So sometimes that's lost in translation. So I really appreciate LazyCat for coming through and also giving us his insight, and also seeing what the esports scenes look like. Because honestly, I'm still so new that I'm not very familiar with the esports side of things. But just to hear that it's been a positive change, it's just something gratifying.
Yeah, no, 100%. CALI was awesome to shed some light on that. What about you, Rusty? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just thanks for letting me take part, and I hope that soon the state of the game leaves this state of flux. Like I said before, before the update, I was gonna release some hero guides, which very much became irrelevant after the update. So I'm hoping, as a content creator who puts a lot of effort and a lot of editing into their videos, I can find the game in a state where it will be, it's good enough and stable enough to make guides and things on it, for the community. Because right now the game needs a bit of stability. So the sooner the better.
100%.
Yeah.
What about you, Lazy? Any closing thoughts before we close this up?
Yeah, I think from my side, it's about the community, and I feel like because we're not going down the route of having a universal jetpack ability anymore, we are not able to directly respond to the community in a sense that directly satisfy their needs. But what we can do is throughout the next updates, we're going to communicate what's going to happen in the next updates, and bring back as much mobility factors and mechanics back to the game as much as possible. And in the future, also looking at completely new or really fun mechanics that helps Farlight 84 stands out once we finish the surgery.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, and reassuring for sure. I'm looking forward for what the future brings to Farlight 84. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and as always, guys, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for the almighty algorithm gods, and I'll see your beautiful faces in podcast number 2.
Bye, guys.